Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's Golem MF Michael Fletcher alongside the guys Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock. Much of a thank you guys for the record numbers we've been getting for the last few weeks on the Cerebral Smack Talk. Insurmountable, unbelievable numbers we're drawing. We are averaging over 30 views per show in the last few weeks. Our high has been over 50 on the docket, guys. So you guys have been absolutely been amazing for the last few weeks. Can't thank you enough for the love and the support, and hopefully you'll enjoy this episode here tonight. So let's do it. We're gonna start off per the usual with Impact Wrestling. So what we did have, just to jump the whole thing off, there was a promo segment that started in the show with the world champion Mike Santana and the whole 9 yards. That actually was a prelude to an 8-man tag team matchup, as it was Mike Santana, Leon Slater, Moose, and Trey Miguel. They went up against members of the System and Order 4. Members of the System, which was Eddie Edwards and Cedric Alexander. Members of Order 4, Mustafa Ali and Agent Zero. And when it was all said and done, the Heel Squad gets the win. That is Cedric Alexander, Eddie Edwards, Mustafa Ali, and Agent Zero. And it was Eddie Edwards getting Mike Santana for the 1-2-3 with the Boston Knee Party in 15 minutes and 15 seconds. Noted, this is now 2 weeks in a row that Eddie Edwards takes down the champion himself. Big win for him. Big win for the team. And you could actually make an argument that this was the fight of the night. That's how good this was. So with 15-15, this is easily 3.5 to 3 3/4. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Yeah, 3.5, 3 3/4 of a star. This was a good example of a simple idea that wound up working very well. They hit a groove here, and I was loving everything they were doing. You advanced a bunch of matches at the same time, and the ending was exactly what it should have been. Hell of an opener here, and this did exactly what it should have done. And I don't think there's anything else left to say. I think we all know who Mike Santana will be defending the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against at Rebellion next Saturday night in Cleveland. I think it's going to be Eddie Edwards. I think Eddie's going to cash it in at Rebellion. So we'll see what happens. So 3.5, 3 3/4, definitely agree. This is most certainly the fight of the night, and nothing more for me to add. So MF, let's move on to our next match.
All right, it was Tessa Blanchard going one-on-one with Jody Threat in a bunkhouse match, and it was Tessa Blanchard winning the match via referee stoppage in 9 minutes and 12 seconds. So, Anthony, it's yours.
I actually had 13:23 on my end, but anyways, I'm gonna give it about 3 to 3 1/4 here. They were trying, and Tessa went nuts with that belt, but Jody only got so far. I'm still not sure I see her appeal, but with the women's division losing some names, the Knockouts division losing some names, including Danny Luna recently, Tessa might be one of the best options they have. And or should I say Jody might be one of the best options they have. And at the same time, Tessa Blanchard continues to look like an absolute star, which is great to see. So the specialty of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. I mean, you couldn't help but think about Dusty because, I mean, he made this match famous. And another one that made it famous, Bunkhouse Buck. Let's not forget about him. And Dustin Rhodes also. Dusty and Dustin Rhodes and Bunkhouse Buck. They made the Bunkhouse match what it is. And they couldn't really replicate that here, but I'll give it 3 to 3 1/4 for the effort. So not much more. MF, Tessa keeps getting herself closer and closer to Knockouts title contention.
Yeah, she is. No doubt about it. Yeah, it's a 3-star bout. I thought it was a solid fight. Could have been better in certain areas, but I'm not going to be too more about it. So next up we had was AJ Francis versus the hometown man, and AJ Francis winning the match in 3 minutes and 48 seconds. Not much to talk about here. No big surprises. This was kind of quote unquote a delicious squash, to say the very least. I'm not really going to give it much of a rating. We're just going to move right on along with this. Then we have Xia Brookside versus Ariana Grace for the Knockouts title on the line. And it was Ariana Grace winning the match in 11 minutes and 45 seconds. Very good matchup. Another 3-star bout. Yeah, there was some shenanigans at the end, but it did serve its purpose. Ariana winning the match. No big surprise here. They want to kind of, keep her as the champion right now because, like you said, the women's division's been getting raided lately. Some big women have been taken out of the company. Others are trying to find their way around, and it kind of feels like right now they just need a reset, a course reset. So right now, I think it'd be perfect to just have Ariana hold the belt a little while longer. Then once they're able to kind of shuffle the deck and make sure that everything is cross the T, dot the I's, then maybe we can find a suitable person to take the title away from her. And then Ariana can either go back to NXT or they could keep her on TNA because right now she's been actually one of the more better champions they've had in TNA right now. So go figure. She's an NXT talent and she's really done really well in TNA. So Anthony, it's yours.
There were multiple times here where I was wondering how in the world we didn't get a count out or a DQ, and that's not a great way to go. The match was certainly not dull, but it had me wondering why the referee even needed to be there until the ending. At least Lei Ying Lee did not turn on Xia Brookside, which was certainly a way they could have gone. But this is another 3.25 star match or so for this, and there's not much more to say there. So MF.
It's overall review because I don't got nothing else. Yeah,
that was
I got
the main
nothing
event.
else.
Wow,
that was the main event. Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually going to give it about 7.5. It's mainly because of the opener. I mean, the opener was great and pushed a lot towards the Rebellion pay-per-view, but the rest of the show was kind of hit or miss. They don't have much time to set up Rebellion, and some of the injuries and changes caused them to have to make some last-minute changes. Rebellion is only looking so good, but they could get one more big push next week. Not a great show, but the opener did a lot of good, and that's why I'm giving it the 7.5 out of 10. And I believe on this program next week, or one of our programs next week, it could be either Raw or it could be this show next week. We're gonna preview the Rebellion event. So
yes, we will.
Yeah, so that's a big 4, by the way. So this is not a TNA Plus event. This is pay-per-view, folks. So this is big time here. So 7.5 out of 10 from me. So MF, your thoughts, and then we'll move on to a very interesting Smackdown, to say the very least.
Yeah, like you said, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think they did a fine job with it. Strong episode is all I can say. Better than usual, but we'll wait and see how it plays out. And yeah, so here we go. We started out with SmackDown Live, the promo segment by Randy Orton in St. Louis, and he revealed. It then came out with Cody Rhodes. He interrupted and it was supposed to have been Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes made his appearance, and then here comes Pat McAfee. Now McAfee started going a little heel, started ripping on all of the, ripping on St. Louis, easy rip job. So the fans started to get on, whatever. But then Pat went down and started ripping on Cody and basically literally breaking the fourth wall, to say the very least. So, okay, here let's lay down the whole thing. Okay, so for a few weeks now, we've been throwing this narrative about how the fans have turned on Cody Rhodes and basically getting, you want him Orton to be this major heel and the whole 9 yards, and it's not working because the fans are loving Orton, Cody's getting booed, and the whole 9 yards, and you wonder what is really going on. Now, tonight, I kind of feel like they may have finally started to get that reaction that they were looking for. However, IWC and my lovely Discord friends are once again saying they're saying the same thing that Pat McAfee's been throwing. That you're trying so hard for us to believe that for Cody Rhodes, yet we're not buying it. None of the fans are buying it. It seems like WWE has backed themselves into a corner here, and they're trying to get out. Now, apparently, coming from multiple sources now, from what I'm hearing, for Pat McAfee to show up tonight, this wasn't WWE's call. As a matter of fact, I just read an article just now on Facebook. This came from TKO themselves. This came from Artie Emanuel. He made the call for this. And you want to know why? Because of the integration of ESPN. Need I remind you, the first hours of both nights of WrestleMania will be live, exclusive on ESPN 2 on Night 1 and the ESPN cable networks on Night 2. You get the first hour on the house. The first hour of WrestleMania is on the house. Free. You don't have to pay. You don't need it. If you got Cox, if you got Verizon, if you got regular TV, you'll be able to watch the first hour of WrestleMania without any issues. That's a first in the history of WrestleMania. They've never done this before. Then, obviously, the remaining show, you got to go on to the ESPN app. If you got it, good. If you don't, you're going to have to fork over that. I think it's like $30 a month or $29.99 a month. Or I think they upped the price to like $35 now. But that's the case. That's a story for another day. This is a turn of events because obviously TKO realizes what ESPN can provide. And like I said, the first hour of WrestleMania that's going down is going to be on the ESPN networks. So obviously you want to get this. You want the eyeballs. You want the ticket sales. You want everything else. But the thing is, did Pat McAfee say a lie in his promo here tonight? How WWE's been shit? That Cody Rhodes has been the champion? And he also pinned and also blamed Cody for the failure of WWE. How the ticket sales have been plummeting. How the ratings have been dropping. How everything has been Cody's fault as champion. And I'm sorry, but again, according to my friends in Discord, there wasn't a lie. There's been no lie whatsoever. What Pat McAfee is saying is what the IWC has been saying behind the scenes. It's just that nobody's had the guts or the balls to say it until tonight. Pat McAfee is the voice of the voiceless. He is the one that's telling everybody the goddamn truth. And it's crazy to me that WWE decided to pull the trigger and do it this way. Now, I get it. This is supposed to garner sympathy for Cody Rhodes. This is supposed to bend the moment that maybe, just maybe, we can finally get the heel Randy Orton and everything else. I think it was really interesting that it was Pat McAfee, of all people, that came out and was the one to say what he said. I think it was a little bit out of right field because I did not expect it to be McAfee. I think we all were expecting somebody else. But the thing is Pat really the one pulling the strings? I don't think so. I think there's somebody higher than McAfee. I think there's another person that's pulling the strings that's going on right now. Maybe McAfee may be getting in the ear of Randy Orton, but I think McAfee's being influenced by somebody else getting involved. That's my personal opinion. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Okay. Michael Bullock and I had our Smackdown chat tonight, and the one thing that we were when Bullock and I saw this, I mean, the one thing that we were thinking about instantly was how was MF going to react? I mean, because MF, we all know, Randy Orton's your boy. We all know this. You've been an Orton mark since day one, and we also know how much you love Pat McAfee because you watch his show religiously. You watch it damn near every day, if not every day. You watch his show on ESPN and YouTube. I was very curious. I honestly thought that you were going to, be all excited about it, because it's Orton and McAfee. These are two of your favorite guys. And I thought you would have been going crazy and marking out. But I'm going to tell you right now, social media is flooding. I read so many comments tonight, and I did not see one positive comment about this development here tonight. Not one. The most famous content creator here on YouTube is going to unleash hell here tonight. And no, it's not Derek Ferreira. It's not him. You know the other one. I bet you more than anything else, he is going to absolutely unleash hell. And based on his post tonight, he's going to go off. He is especially going to go off on this development here tonight. But seriously, from a professional standpoint and the whole 9 yards, as expected, Cody Rhodes came out and got into a fight with Randy Orton. In a surprising turn, Pat McAfee showed up and kicked Cody below the belt before helping Orton continue the assault. He gave a heel promo while the Viper continued to keep Rhodes grounded with a steel chair. There was a lot of speculation about who Orton has been talking to on the phone, but Pat McAfee was probably the last person anyone expected it to be. Unfortunately, that is not always a good thing. Their alliance feels random and does nothing to help an already established Orton look like a bigger threat to the undisputed WWE Championship. Stephanie McMahon should take it as a compliment that she's not like her father. Pat McAfee running down every St. Louis team to get cheap heel heat, kind of funny. And McAfee has always been a big cheerleader for WWE, so hearing him run the company down felt forced for this story. And it was definitely a very interesting turn of events. I mean, so many people we thought it could have been. I mean, Stephanie McMahon, Arn Anderson, Cowboy Bob Orton, The Rock, even Kevin Owens' name was thrown out there. But, I mean, the last name we all expected was Pat McAfee. Here's a guy who was a breath of fresh air on commentary and, was so beloved. And everybody was, because we all loved his energy, his enthusiasm. He was like a little kid and, we loved it. And what we saw here tonight, there's no doubt about it. We got NXT Pat McAfee here tonight. The Pat McAfee that, was feuding with Adam Cole in NXT. Oh, yeah, he's going off right now. There is no doubt about it. But anyways, there's nothing left for me to say except so that happened. Very interesting turn of events, and of course, we're all going to be wondering what's Michael Cole thinking, because we all know Michael Cole was Pat McAfee's biggest cheerleader on commentary. Their commentary was amazing during the COVID era. So, but we shall see what happens. It's an interesting development. Could there be a quote unquote higher power? Could be. If there is a higher power, could you imagine if it was Vince McMahon himself? Could you imagine that if it was him? I don't know.
Oh gosh, I would lose my mind, and not in a good way.
Yeah, like everybody else.
Because we all know how we feel about this pervert.
You want to get heat? You want to get heel heat on Orton? That's the way I think that might be the perfect way to do it. Just saying.
There has been some rumors about that he wants to try to buy back WWE. That he's been talking with Saudi Arabia about buying back the company. That buying it out of TKO. I mean, and if you think about it, the way McAfee did his promo, he not only ran down WWE, but he also ran down TKO.
He did.
He ran them all down.
Yes, he did.
So, I mean, is it possible? Yeah. Is it possible that could be the way they're going? But again, it doesn't, like I said, even though McAfee said what he said, and again, no lie, but again, it depends how you feel. So, like I said, I think it was the right message, the wrong messenger. I think that's the best way to say it. Right message, wrong messenger. Wrong person to be saying all the stuff that he said here tonight.
And that's how you I know that's how you feel professionally, but how do you feel about it personally, considering these are two of your favorite guys?
I mean, I'd rather be professional about it. Personally, yeah. I love McAfee. There was no, like, we knew the rumor going around was that he wasn't, he was in Indianapolis tonight. I thought he was going to be at the women's Final Four, honestly. And he wasn't. He was in St. Louis. I was shocked. But, I mean, because the women's Final Four is in Phoenix. Well, this week's Final Four is in Indianapolis. So I thought he was going to be at the Final Four. But, it is what it is. We'll get into the Final Four tonight, men's and women's. But at the end of the day, yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah. I'm honestly still scratching my head. I'm still processing this. So there isn't much more to say. Michael Bullock, we saw this during our Smackdown chat. We're still like, huh? Really?
Yeah, we were like, really? Of all the guys they could have gone with, they went with this guy? And like you said, Fudge, I mean, right message, wrong messenger. And
from what I'm hearing, this was TKO.
Yeah,
this was
like
not WWE.
This was TKO, and
this might have been TKO's. This might have been TKO's doing tonight. Ari Emanuel's.
Well, that the guy we were talking about that's probably ranting right now is JD from NY, and he actually posted something minutes ago saying, every week WWE tries to outdo the worst SmackDown of the year. This week they may have topped the list for worst show of the year. We might owe Road Dogg an apology after tonight. And in all capital letters, he said, the worst show on television, and TKO is killing the heart of WWE.
I can't disagree with it.
He's not wrong.
He ain't wrong.
But I also gotta call him out because I mean, I don't understand. Like, I get where he's coming from about SmackDown being bad,
but the thing is, do you want to deal with JD from NY when he's raging like he probably is right now?
I mean, he's talking about my show, Michael Bullock. I mean, if there's one person that I need to defend the Shield on, this is it. This would be like Anthony Florio defending Monday Night Raw. I don't know what the heck you want me to say on that.
I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, it's his opinion, but the thing is, to me, this makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. I mean, if this is your way of trying to get Randy Orton over as a heel, I mean, there were other ways there are other guys or anybody that could have done it. But this stooge, this guy, I mean, unless there is a higher power, I'm sorry. I think some of the people are probably going to lose interest in this title match. It may have gone down a step. And quite frankly, I'm with them. I mean, it's unless they really reveal there's someone higher than that. I'm sorry to say this, but the build for this title match, I hate to say it. It's I'm gonna say it's right now. It's a flop. It's an absolute flop. I'm sorry. I mean, first the whole thing with trying to get Orton over as a heel. I mean, that didn't work. And then you try this with Pat McAfee as the guy. I'm sorry. It's just not doing it for me. I mean, that's just my personal opinion of this whole thing. So, I mean, this was out of right field, but I'm with the IWC. I don't like this at all. Unless they really give us something in the next couple of weeks. Sorry, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, the narrative has changed. So, and the thing was, the excitement level was there, but the first big mistake was that they turned Orton heel. That was the first mistake that they made. Now they're trying to solidify and double down on it, but you know, like they said, a lot of people thought, oh, the Road Dogg is responsible. Road Dogg's been the reason why the things have gone wrong. Well, guys, it looks like it's not. And it looks like, you know, Road Dogg left, and did the shows take a step back? Like, even further? I don't know. Some people are saying yes, if you believe those. So, next up we had was Rhea Ripley versus Michin. Rhea Ripley winning the match in 9 minutes and 15 seconds. It's kind of more a paint by numbers, Anthony, more than anything else. It's just Rhea Ripley, you know, getting that momentum, heading into WrestleMania with her fight against Jade Cargill.
Even though the outcome was extremely predictable, this was a solid back and forth match. It's definitely the best Michin has looked in quite some time. Michin is easily the most underused, misused, and underappreciated woman in WWE. The fact that she has never held a single title in WWE or NXT is ridiculous to me. Rhea's version of the Razor's Edge looked nasty. Michin sold it perfectly, and Michin's Poison Rana looked good. I'm going to give this a solid 3 stars for the effort, even though it was predictable, like we said. and it looked like it was going to be a 3-on-1 beatdown, but Io Sky shows up, makes it 3-on-2. I wouldn't be surprised if they book Rhea and Io against B-Fab and Michin in a tag match as early as next week. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So, solid 3. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, a predictable match, yes, but pretty decent, solid.
Yeah, I mean, 3 stars for me, but yeah, I mean, like you said, after the match, I mean, it was going to be a 3-on-1 beatdown, but Io Sky all of a sudden shows up and evens things out for Rhea. So Io hasn't forgotten the friendship with her best friend and partner Rhea Ripley. So looks like Rio is back for one night, and I think it's going to be against B-Fab and Michin. So really got nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, it's about I'll say it's about a 3-star bout. I mean, it was a fine match, like Anthony alluded to. But Rhea needs to remain strong heading into WrestleMania, and I think they did a fine job with that. So there's really nothing more to add here. We now move on to the next match of the evening, which was Uncle Howdy versus Tama Tonga. Uncle Howdy winning the match in roughly 7 minutes. Michael Bullock, it is yours.
2.5 stars is my rating on the match. I mean, yeah, I mean, Uncle Howdy gets the win. I mean, and now, of course, I mean, in development, of course, Tama Tonga gives the lantern back, so it looks like now the lantern is back with the Wyatt Six. But Fletch, I don't know about you, but it looks like there's some dissension with the MFTs, especially with Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa.
Oh yeah, and it might lead to a match at WrestleMania too, but we'll see. But that was the thing that Tama Tonga was talking about. That was the person that Nakamura was getting into about, hey, I think it's time that you become that guy again. You're not a lackey. You're a leader. You're a part of Gorillas of Destiny. Nakamura is unlocking the DOG, the Gorillas of Destiny. And if they start running around, oh no. The WWE Tag Team division is screwed if the Gorillas of Destiny come back. That's all I'm saying. If Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa gets their head out of the you-know-what with Talia or Hikuleo, if them 3 start running around, oh no. They would instantly cause ruckus on the SmackDown roster. So, who knows? We'll see what happens. Is it possible that they might be kicking Solo to the curb? If they are, could we be seeing a WWE version of the Bullet Club coming? We'll see. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. It was about a 2.5-star bout. Anthony, it's yours.
Pretty physical. This was a pretty physical matchup here. But it felt like something was missing. There was no sense of urgency to anything. It felt more like they were going through the paces than having a brutal grudge match, which is how this should have felt. And that's that. So it's a 2.5-star match, and yeah, if the GOD start running around again, oh yeah, all hell will break loose, and that's not a good thing. How is Nick Aldis going to control those guys? Good luck. So 2.5 stars, I agree. Let's move on.
Yeah, so next up that we did have was, let's see. Then we had was Aleister Black versus Matt Cardona. Aleister Black winning the match. It doesn't really need to be much. It wasn't much in this way, so we're just going to move right on along. Then we had the big one. This was Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. And it was Charlotte and Alexa winning the match in roughly 10 minutes. Good matchup, good fight. There wasn't really much for us to talk about here. It was just big win for Charlotte and Alexa. But as you notice, at the end, the irresistible forces hit the ring and attacked everybody in sight. So Lash and Nia gets a leg up on the women. The only team conspicuous by their absence was the Bellas. They were not on SmackDown tonight. Maybe we'll see them Monday night on Raw, heading into WrestleMania, because we're getting pretty close, guys, about 2 weeks from now. So we'll see how that plays out. Anthony, it's yours as Alexa and Charlotte wins in roughly 10 minutes.
Well, most of this match was fine. The fact that Bayley and Lyra were booked to lose clean this close to WrestleMania felt like a strange call to me. Booking one of the teams fighting for the titles to look weak this close to the PLE does not make much sense. But a clean finish is still better than interference. This is another 3.25 star or so match here. And the jumping tornado DDT from Alexa Bliss almost ended in disaster, but she and Lyra recovered and made it work in the end. The only reason why the Bellas weren't on the show tonight was because of the fact of Nikki Bella's ankle injury that I mentioned on last week's show.
Yeah.
So they said that she's going to be going through some sort of rehab for it to try to, get it fully functional in time for Mania. You got 2 weeks, darling. So hop to chop when it comes to that. So you got 2 weeks. That's not much time. It goes by fast nowadays. Very fast. So it'll be here before you know it. So there's not much more to say on that. That's why the Bellas weren't there. So 3.25. Fine match, but Bayley and Lyra losing clean, that's kind of odd to me, if I'm being honest. So we'll see what happens in a couple weeks. So 3.25. Let's did Bullock go?
No, Bullock needs to go.
All right, Michael Bullock, your thoughts. Charlotte and Alexa winning in, what was it, 10 minutes, MF?
10 minutes, yep.
Yeah, 3.25 for me. I mean, yeah, Bayley and Lyra losing clean is a little odd and maybe a little concerning, but yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much said everything, so let's just move right on along.
Next up we had was the WWE Tag Team titles on the line. The newly crowned champions, Damian Priest and R-Truth, putting the titles on the line against The Miz and Kit Wilson. And it was the champions successfully defending, winning it in 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Damian Priest and R-Truth is still the WWE Tag Team champions. Anthony, it is yours.
Yeah, I thought this was a solid match here. The show was pretty weak overall, but adding this match did not do it any favors. They didn't do a bad job, but it was yet another predictable outcome. And some of this was funny, but if I'm going to be honest, most of it felt like a waste of time. It really did. And Danhausen has not had a single WWE match yet, but the crowd clearly loves his shtick. It will be interesting to see how he is booked once he starts competing. And the Miz's selling ability is underrated. He makes everyone he fights look good. And what was up with that ending with Miz pulls in referee Dan Engler, and he got accidentally cursed by Danhausen to the point where it looks like the Miz and Kit were going to win the titles, but on the third count, Engler's right arm all of a sudden gave out. And then Damian Priest scores the win, and Engler had to use the left hand. Campy comedy nonsense here, but it was all right for what it was. 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating for it. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 2.5 for me. I mean, it was just a lot of campy comedy nonsense with this. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. So what's your Sledge?
Yeah, 2.5 stars. I can agree with it. I told you the curse, the Danhausen curse has quite an effect on people. I'm telling you, man. So I know, I get it. But yeah, it is what it is. And then we got our main event of the evening, U.S. title on the line. Sami Zayn putting the title against Carmelo Hayes, winner of the bout in 11 minutes and 5 seconds, and still the United States heavyweight champion, Sami Zayn. And Michael Bullock, I gotta say this, Sami backdoored his way into the victory. Basically, Carmelo Hayes, it looked like his knee was jacked up. The referee was trying to check on him, and Sami haluva kicked him while the referee was looking at Carmelo. I mean, what?
Yeah, he backdoored his way into that victory. I mean, literally taking advantage of an injured Carmelo Hayes. I mean, looked like his knee was hurt, but just as the referee was checking on him, and Sami said, "Screw it, I'm going for the haluva kick," and that's why you're seeing the fans starting to turn on Sami, because he's taking the as we like to say, the cheap way out. So yeah, it's going to be Trick Williams and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania officially, but I'm going to go on the record and saying I think Trick Williams is going to become the new champion at WrestleMania. So, because these fans, I mean, they don't like Sami Zayn, and they are all behind Trick Williams. So, nothing more for me to say. What was the time of the main event?
It was 9 minutes and 11:05.
I'll give this about 3 1/4
11 minutes
stars.
and 5
so,
seconds.
Yeah, 3 1/4 for me. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, 3 1/4. Absolutely. Solid matchup, good battle. Like I said, I was a little surprised at Sami Zayn pulling that trigger and winning the match. And a lot of people are attacking Sami online here tonight, questioning his motive. But like I said last week, one of my friends on the Discord really laid in on Sami Zayn, and I think you just gave him a lot of ammunition here tonight, my friend. I'm pretty sure once my friend finds out what Sami did, he may be raging like JD from NY is raging right now, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty bad. So nothing more to say here. It was a fine main event. Anthony, it's yours.
This is 3 1/4 to 3.5 stars. All right. They got started with about 13 minutes left in the show, so we knew this was not going to be a very long match as soon as it began. We all know how well these two work together after their previous matches, so it should come as no surprise that they ended up putting on the fight of the night here. And the only thing I can say is I think Sami's on the verge of a heel turn here. I mean, the fans are booing him, yet they're trying to they're doing the same thing with Cody and Orton that they're doing with Trick and Sami. The fans love Trick. They're turning on Sami. So that's an interesting development we need to keep an eye on for WrestleMania. No question about that. That's going to be more of a pro-Trick crowd than a pro-Sami crowd, let's be honest. And I agree with Bullock. Trick Williams will be the next United States heavyweight champion. No doubt about it. So 3 1/4, 3.5 for this. Let's get to the overall review here.
Yeah, look, SmackDown was not great. We're going to openly admit it. I'm going to go maybe 6 out of 10. I mean, I think it was because overall the matches were fine, but I get it. There's a lot of people really angry about certain parts of the show, the booking of it, leading into WrestleMania. I get it. I get all the negativity. But I kind of feel like right now, it's one of those things it was more of a step back more than anything else. I still feel like Orton and Cody is a fine program. I feel like, yes, Cody and Orton is the big one. Rhea and Jade, nobody really cares about that match anymore. It's basically whatever. I think the Tama Tonga and Solo may be an interesting storyline. If booked right, we'll see how that plays out. And like you said, the U.S. title picture, it kind of now feels like the door is definitely open. Like, the door closed. There's really nothing more for us to say here. So, it is going to be now Trick versus Sammy. Fans want Trick to win the title. It looks like that might be the way they're going. Who knows? All in all, SmackDown kind of is not cooking like Monday Night Raw is. And they're going to have to figure it out because we got 2 weeks before WrestleMania. And it looks like it's more of a step back than anything else. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. And again, I don't know if it's because the WWE fans are hijacking and that's why it's not working in certain areas. Because Trick Williams is supposed to be a nuclear heel. And they're cheering him. Randy Orton's supposed to be a heel, and they're cheering him because he's going back to the age of Orton, the Viper himself. So, I mean, when you get fans that is kind of feeling that kind of way, what can you do? 6 out of 10. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. Tonight's SmackDown had some highlights, but the show as a whole was one of the least memorable episodes in recent memory, which is saying something after last week. This close to WrestleMania, WWE has to deal with having most of the big matches already booked, which means it needs to find ways to fill the time between now and then. Sadly, it is a lot of repetitive storyline developments and predictable moments. Pat McAfee joining Randy Orton was genuinely shocking, but not necessarily in a good way. If you only watch one thing from the show, make it the main event. I agree. 6.5 out of 10 for me. Michael Bullock, let's get your overall thoughts, and then we'll get into Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, 6 out of 10 for me as well. So let's get into Stand and Deliver.
Stand and Deliver, the biggest show of the year. And my goodness, we have a lot to cover, guys. So we're going to try to go as fast as we can with this. There is a pre-show fight. We normally don't do pre-show fights, but it is a mixed 10-person tag, as it is gonna be Hank and Tank, Silo Hill, EK Prosper, and Ren Sinclair going up against all the members of the Birthright: Lexis King, Channing Stack Lorenzo, Charlie Dempsey, Uriah Connors, and Ariana Grace. That's a pre-show fight that will be done before the event begins. So, first official fight of the night for the NXT Tag Team titles, as it's the Vanity Project going up against Los Americanos. I gotta say it's the Vanity Project. I just don't see Los Americanos winning the titles, at least not yet. I don't, this is going to be one of those matches where it's just kind of, it'll be a fine match, but I don't think it's going to be anything to write home about. Winners and still tag champions, the Vanity Project. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. Looking at the tag team championship matchup here, the Vanity Project are set to defend the championships against Los Americanos. And yeah, the former Evolve stars are emerging victorious from their first ever Stand and Deliver. While they could take the titles to the main roster and even AAA, I don't think Rayo and Bravo are getting the job done over these new fresh stars. The tournament to determine the number one contenders to the tag titles was slightly snake-bitten, with now former Speed champion Elio LaFleur getting injured early in the competition, leaving him on the shelf, and his tag partner Eli Knight sidelined as well. WWE had added a new team to the tournament somewhat last minute, and they decided to bring in the decisive Americanos, who do seem to get a good reaction on NXT. Even more than that, WWE chose to have them win the tournament. While Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate are excellent workers, I don't think they need the NXT tag titles under their current comedy gimmick. They will, however, lead Smokes and Bayley to a great match on a big stage, If plans were changed due to the injury to LaFleur, this matchup is probably the best option for Vanity Project. So, yeah, Drake Smokes and Baylor, Vanity Project, they're up and coming heels on an NXT roster that is not exactly full of strong male talent who aren't immediately destined for the main roster. But yeah, winners and still the NXT Tag Team Champions. Swipe right, Ricky Smokes, Brad Baylor. They need to win to keep looking strong. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts? Make it unanimous?
Bullock, are you there?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it unanimous and go with the Vanity Project to retain the NXT Tag Team titles. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's move on to the next match.
It is for the NXT North American title, as it is the champion, Miles Bourne, going up against Johnny Gargano and Anthony Florio. It is all yours.
Miles Bourne might have the most momentum of anyone who is not in the main event. After ending the historic North American title reign of Ethan Page, Miles Bourne has been on fire. While I would love to say that Johnny Gargano could win the match, it does not feel likely. I don't doubt that Gargano will find one more great match in him, likely willed on by the NXT fans. But this is a man whose shadow knows his story and feels AEW bound in any second. Defeating Gargano would be a major feather in Miles Bourne's cap, and it would be one last gift to the NXT roster from the former NXT champion, who would be making Miles Bourne a made man on his way out of the company. Bourne feels ready for greatness thanks to the simplicity of looking like Randy Orton and wrestling like Dolph Ziggler. While Bourne might not go for the easy inspirational angle often, his success in WWE as its first deaf champion also adds a certain sentimentality to his reign. He's just simply someone that WWE fans can root for wholeheartedly. And I don't believe that WWE will squander that for a nearly catatonic Johnny Gargano. So winner and still the North American champion, it is Miles Bourne. Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Miles Bourne to retain the North American Championship as well. So, Fletch, it's yours.
Yep, Miles Bourne wins it. I really got not much to say on that one. All right, guys, here we go. The big one. One of the big ones of the evening. Triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship. JC Jane putting the title on the line against Kendall Gray and Lola Vice. Michael Bullock, it is all yours.
People, obviously, this whole thing happened because of the, both referees feeling like, one tapped out, and the other got the pinfall. And that's why they had to go with this. Now, JC Jane has been the champion for quite a while. And, yeah, eventually I think she's going to drop it because I've heard that she's going to end up on the main roster. I think this is the time. I think this is the time they're going to finally do it. Now, the only question is, who do I think is going to win it? Some people say Lola needs it because of she's on a bit of a losing streak, but some wanted to go to Kendall Gray because, and you've said it, Fletch, you're high on this young woman. So I'm going to go with Kendall Gray to become the new NXT Women's Champion, but would I be surprised if Lola Vice wins it? No, I wouldn't be surprised, but so Fletch, it is yours. Are we going to crown a new champion with one of these two, or will JC Jane once again find a way to get it done?
Going into this, you would think that we would have a new champion. But every time that we've gone this route, JC's always had either somebody interfere or she always used to backdoor her way to the win. And I haven't heard any rumors about her leaving to the main roster yet. So I'm tending to go with and still. I don't know why. I feel like it's gonna be JC keeping the belt a little while longer. If the one person that's gonna take the belt from her, it's gonna be Kendall. I'm sorry, I don't see Lola getting the title. I think this could be Kendall. It's either going to be JC retains or Kendall's walking out the new champion. For some odd reason, I just don't see Lola winning the title. So that's my feeling. I'm going to go and still. But Anthony, I would not be surprised that Kendall Gray walks out here the new champion because, like I said, just like it looks like they're strapping Obafemi as the next big star in the men's division. I think Kendall Gray is the future of the women's division in WWE. And I think it's time that
feels that way, MF.
Yeah.
I'm sure you read the comments from that guy that runs the Wrestling Observer. I'm sure you heard his comment. He even agrees. He's even given high praise to Kendall Gray, and rightfully so. I mean, what a body of work. And now, traditionally, a triple threat match would equate to each competitor having a 33.3% chance of winning. When one of them has an obvious investment backing them, though, their odds increase. And Kendall Gray, I believe, I'm going to go with Michael Bullock on this one. I believe she has a 43% chance. And Lola and JC each have 27%. I'm leaning more towards that. From the moment Kendall Gray claimed the Evolve Women's Championship, then simultaneously performing on the NXT brand, it has been clear that WWE trusts in her potential as a star in the company. We fans got a glimmer of Kendall's star worthiness when she outmaneuvered 4 NXT veterans to win the Women's Iron Survivor last December at Deadline. And despite falling short in her initial attempt at the title back in January at New Year's Evil, Kendall Gray still looks strong coming out of it. Given that Kendall Gray already held the Women's Evolve title at the time of her first major title match, I imagine that WWE did not want to produce yet another case of a double champion, a la Stephanie Vaquer, Sol Ruca, and JC Jane, who did all of that last year. This time around, however, Gray is titleless, having recently vacated her Evolve Women's title in order for her to enjoy a full-time run on NXT, a la Option C from the X Division in TNA. It's not often that talents willingly relinquish a championship, so the fact that Kendall Gray did tells me, MF and Bullock, and a lot of others around the world, many of us, that another bigger one is likely in her future. What better way is there to make that a reality than by capturing the NXT Women's Championship at NXT's biggest event of the year, Stand and Deliver? Winner and new NXT Women's Champion, the future of the business, Kendall Gray. Move on.
Next up, a blood feud. Sol Ruca going one-on-one with Zarya. All right. Now, going into this, it was very interesting. I think I was going to say, I think Zol was going to win this. But if you notice the crowd reaction lately, more people are pulling for Zarya than for Sol. Has Sol gotten too big too fast? And is she now getting that Cena, Roman, the big star boo treatment? Looks like it. Feels like it. But I kind of feel like Sol's going to win the match, though. Even though I think a lot of people would like to see Sol lose, get knocked down a peg or two. But this whole storyline, I feel like it's going to be Sol Ruca winning it, Anthony. And that's how I feel this is going to go. I think this is going to cause a little bit of some not so good reactions from the fans. But I'm going to go with Sol Ruca to win this one, and it's yours.
And all right. Heading into the big event, Sol Ruca has a clear advantage on paper. After all, she's already proven herself as a championship-level talent through her reigns as Women's North American and Speed Champion. She also challenged for 2 other coveted straps of gold, the TNA Knockouts and WWE Women's United States Championships, and emerged as the Iron Woman and 3rd-place finisher in this year's Women's Royal Rumble match. Sol Ruca, if I'm going to be honest with you, Sol Ruca does not need to beat Zarya at Stand and Deliver. Zarya, however, needs a win over Sol Ruca. Coming into NXT in late 2024, Zarya presented herself as a force that could likely plow through the entire division. Her nickname as the Adelaide Powerhouse even supported that idea. Still, she's often took a back seat to Sol Ruca. Yes, Zaruka cemented themselves as contenders for Tag Team Gold in WWE and TNA together. In singles action, though, Ruka primarily occupied the spotlight, hence her numerous opportunities as both a champion and challenger. This sentiment especially rang true when Zaruka competed alongside one another back in February in a tag bout where the person behind the winning pinfall would earn an NXT Women's Championship opportunity. Zarya was evidently on track to clinch that opportunity, but an inadvertent tag resulted in Sol Ruca seizing it instead. That proved to be Zarya's breaking point as she derailed Ruca's title match with a spear and an F5 just 2 weeks later, effectively putting their partnership to an end. A win at Stand and Deliver would arguably mark the biggest win of Zarya's WWE career so far, and hopefully set her up for proper success on the brand. Considering that Sol Ruca is also reportedly set for a main roster call-up, I got to go with, I think she's going to put over her former ally on the way out. So with all due respect, MF, I respectfully disagree with you. I'm going with Zarya to win this match. She needs it more. Sol's on her way to the main roster. She's going to be just fine. She will lose nothing from taking a defeat here. There's nothing more for me to say. So give me Zarya to win this match. So Michael Bullock, who do you agree with? Do you agree with MF and Sol, or do you agree with me and Zarya?
I'm going with you and Zarya. And not just that, but like you said, I mean, I think the fans have turned on Sol, and that she's literally like stealing opportunities from Zarya, and they're getting behind her. So, and she needs this more than Sol Ruca does. So, I'm with you. I'm going with Zarya to win this, and that will definitely put some smiles on the NXT universe's faces on this one, as it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so let's move right along. Next up we had was Tatum Paxley to go one-on-one with Blake Monroe for the NXT Women's Championship. I believe it goes to Anthony Florio. So, Anthony, it is all yours.
Stand and Deliver will mark Blake Monroe's first opportunity to win the Women's North American Championship back since she lost the title to Thea Hale last December. But with Tatum Paxley's reign being just under 30 days long, I believe that Tatum will retain tomorrow night. Firstly, Tatum Paxley became women's champion last year, but her reign only lasted 24 days. And if she were to lose another title within a short period of time, it could be damaging to the strength of her character and be an indication that the brand does not view her as a star who can carry gold long term. Furthermore, Blake Monroe has been rumored to be called up to the main roster since the beginning of the year, and it would make sense if she were to debut on Raw or SmackDown shortly after Stand and Deliver, or more likely after WrestleMania. Monroe has also already been Women's North American Champion and does not need to have another reign at the expense of Paxley, especially if her call-up to the main roster is on the horizon. 2 weeks ago, Monroe kickstarted her feud with Paxley when she shockingly dragged her underneath the entrance ramp following Paxley's successful title defense in the steel cage against Izzy Dame. Therefore, a win for Paxley would not only be the logical choice due to Monroe already having a previous run with the title and her call-up to the main roster looming, but would also complete the story by giving the babyface in the feud the revenge she's been looking for. So for me, winner and still Women's North American Champion, Tatum Paxley. Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yeah, you basically said everything there, Florio, especially with Blake Monroe possibly going to the main roster, and she doesn't need another run with the Women's North American title. So I'm with you, winner and still Women's North American champion, Tatum Paxley. Are we going to make this unanimous, Fletch?
Yeah, it's unanimous. It's Tatum Paxley, no doubt about it. Now we're on to the main event of the show. The NXT title on the line in a fatal four-way. The champion, Joe Hendry, versus three other opponents. Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, and Tony D'Angelo. Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yeah, this is an interesting main event. I mean, and especially, I mean, the three men, of course, the current champion and Ricky Saints and Ethan Page already had a run. But some would wonder, is it Tony D's time? Because that's the only title he is yet to win. And with the way that with this new character, who knows? Maybe I think this could be the time. So, look, do I want to see Joe Hendry retain the title? Of course I do. But I'm going to say it, winner and new NXT champion, Tony D'Angelo. It is yours, Fletch.
I agree. I think it's Tony D's time. Look, I think Ethan Page is on his way to the main roster. I think Ricky Saint is on his way to the main roster. I think Joe Hendry is on his way to the main roster. I think this is going to be a purging here. So Tony D needs to be the face of NXT. And I think this is where you got it, at Stand and Deliver. Everybody's been wanting Tony to get the title for a little while now. I think the boss is going to get it. Winner and new NXT champion, Tony D'Angelo. Anthony, it's yours.
I'm going to make it short and sweet. You guys pretty much said it for me. Winner and new NXT champion, Tony D'Angelo. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I actually would not be surprised if Joe Hendry retains. And if he does retain, I believe that Tony D could beat him in a singles and take the title from him then. But right now, I'm going with Tony D, but watch out for Joe Hendry.
All right. So with that said, now we're going to go into the NCAA, the Final Four. But before we do, let's get into the coverage for tonight's women's Final Four. The Final Four is in the Mortgage Matchup Center in Phoenix, Arizona. These games have just gone final. The first national semifinal we had was the number 1 seed, the number 4 overall seed. Actually, it was all number 1s. The top 4 teams have made it to the end. So it was 1, 4, 2, 3. The number 1 overall seed and South Regional Final champions, the South Carolina Gamecocks. They went up against the number 1 overall seed, East Regional Final winners, and reigning and defending NCAA Women's National Champions, the UConn Huskies. Oh, by the way, they were undefeated going into this game. South Carolina knocks them out. South Carolina sends UConn home. 62-48 was the final score. Now, if you were watching the game, if you see the score, you're thinking, oh my God, South Carolina blew out UConn. Not necessarily. South Carolina basically had a lead. UConn started to come back like the men's squad did against Duke. They got it all the way down to 4, but then South Carolina basically put the foot on the throat and basically crushed them at the end. But it was marred by a very interesting incident. Gino Auriemma, the head coach of UConn, and Dawn Staley, the head coach of South Carolina, got into a heated argument towards the end of the game. We don't know what was said. We don't know what happened there. But, oh boy, if you thought the rivalry was real, it really is real now. So, I don't know what was said. I don't know what had happened, but yeah, we had a little mini brouhaha at the end. But at the end of the day, it is South Carolina. They will be playing on Easter Sunday afternoon in Arizona for the national championship, and they will be going up against the UCLA Bruins. The Bruins knocks out Texas by the final score of 51-44 was the final score tonight. So it will be South Carolina versus UCLA on Sunday afternoon. The game is set for 3:30 on ABC, and it will be simulcast on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN and the ESPN app. And that is the women's Final Four. Now to the men. The men's NCAA tournament goes to Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. And gentlemen, here we go. The first game will be at 6:09 Eastern Time tomorrow. And it's going to be the number 2 the East Regional Champions, the Yukon Huskies, representing the Big East. They will be going up against I believe this is the South Regional Champions and number 3 seed overall from the Big Ten, the Illinois Fighting Illini. That will be game number 1. And then in the second game, the nightcapper, it is the Midwest Regional Champions. It is the Michigan Wolverines from the Big Ten going up against the Big 12 and number 2 overall in the tournament, West Regional Champions, the Arizona Wildcats. What a game it's going to be. As a matter of fact, Illinois is actually a 1.5 point favorite with the over-under at 139 points. And that'll be at 6:09. And then at 8:49 Eastern Time, approximately, all games, the Final Four will be on TBS, True TV. And for all you guys on streaming, go to HBO Max. And, of course, the commentary will be Iron Eagle. It'll also be with Grant Hill. And it's also going to be, who's the other one? Who am I forgetting? Bill Rafferty, Mr. Onions, with the kiss, as they would say. So that's the Final Four. That is set. And my goodness, what a game it's going to be. 2 exciting games. UConn and Illinois, like we said, UConn beating Duke, had that miraculous comeback, and now they go to yet another Final Four. And the Fighting Illini has been flying under the radar, and a lot of people didn't think that Illinois was going to get here till the end, but they are here. And then, of course, the number 2 versus number 3 overall, as it's Arizona versus Michigan. What a game that's going to be. That might be the game of the night, to say the very least. Michigan, 1.5 point favorite as well. The over-under at 157.5 points. Boy, they're giving us some. They're going for a high number on that one. So those games will be going down on Saturday. The national championship game is set for Monday night in Lucas Oil Stadium. All right. That's it. We're done. We're out of here, folks. So on Tuesday night, another edition of Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. And we also have a lot.
What about Stand and Deliver tomorrow night?
Stand and Deliver tomorrow night, yeah. He Stand and Deliver at 10:30. Or actually, when the show ends, I probably should be home by then. So it might be around 10:30, whatever the case may be. We'll let you know. but we will recover. We will cover that, and we'll go from there. And then nothing more to say. So for Anthony Floyo, Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher saying so long, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow night.